It is February 2nd, 2024, and my crocus are blooming. And the groundhog came out and said we're going to have spring soon, and now this seems so promising. I haven't done research on my crocus to tell you about them, so I'm going to have to do that. But I have 4 little crocus. I like this one, the way it has all the little greenery around it and it's right in the middle. I think that means that there's going to be other crocuses blooming around it. Like, I bet you there's going to be one coming out of there. These are always the first to bloom. Sometimes they bloom in January, but we're barely out of January. Isn't that gorgeous? So I'm looking at it. It has 6 petals. These 3 on the outside are darker color than the ones on the inside, which are more like it's white. And then you have the yellow center. I love that they're complementary colors all in one flower. Oh, look, here's another one getting ready to bloom. It's just come out of the ground. Comes out right between the leaves, not on top of the leaves. It's really hard to get a good focus on it. It's so tiny. Coming straight out of the ground. I love the way this one's straight up like a soldier. This one's kind of leaning out. This one's a soldier. And I love, it's a beautiful weather day, about 62 degrees and sunny. I needed this to get through my winter blues, my cabin fever. We had so many dreary winter days with cloudy skies, but if we didn't have those, we wouldn't be able to appreciate these moments. And I love just sitting down in my yard. I'm actually right on my concrete here, spending time with my flowers and my camera. One of my favorite things. You see, we have, I'm assuming these are the daffodils coming up right next to it. This has been green all winter so far. Yep, just me and my camera on a sunny day and the flowers. I'm so happy. Aren't they gorgeous? God's gift to me. So it's the next day and I've done my studying, so I'm here to share with you what I've learned. This one that we filmed yesterday that was barely poking out of the ground is now open. You see here the sun has crept over the roof behind me, so the flowers are now in the shade and they're beginning to close up. So they do close up at night. Now, I tried to find the scientific name because I've been sharing that, and I think these are Crocus vernus, but then again, I saw so many names that I'm not sure vernus is the one. So Crocus is the genus name and vernus is the species. And so I read that there's over 50 different types, or I think species, of spring blooming crocus. So I'm not sure if I got the right name, but vernus is the most common. It's a Dutch crocus. The flower is from the Iridescii family, or the iris family. Now that was a surprise to me. I did not realize that. I always recognize the crocus before they bloom by their leaves. They've always got this little white stripe down the middle, and I always like the little white stripe. It's kind of adorable. So the crocus, when you talk about 3 of them, like I've got here, the plural is crocuses, which a lot of people say, but actually technically croci is the more appropriate plural version, but both are okay in today's world. Now, something I learned was that a crocus has 3 stamens and a style. And I kind of thought, oh, that sounds like good lyrics to a song. Like you could repeat that over and over. 3 stamens and a style. And I was like, oh, I've heard of these before, but I don't really remember what they are. So I'm going to see if I can't take my glasses off and poke around and look at these with you. So I think I see them. So the 3 stamens are actually all on this side of the plant. And a stamen is the male part of the flower that produces pollen. So it's made up of 2 parts. The filament, it holds it up. It's the little stem-like part. And the anther at the top produces the pollen. And I think they're all 3. My finger's making it go out of focus. So all 3, I think, are on this side. On the other side is the style. You can see the stamens are a darker color and the style is a lighter color. Hopefully you can see that because this flower is awfully small. So actually the style is called a pistil. And it's the female part. And it's right in the middle of the flower, although this one seems to be on the opposite side of the stamens that are going. The stamens are going this way, and the style is sticking straight up. So the style actually has 3 parts. At the very, very, very bottom of it is the ovule and ovary, and that creates the eggs. We're kind of seeing how this is just like humans. Then there's the style that holds it up. So that's basically kind of what we see. So that's why I guess they call it a style when it's actually part of the pistil. And then the style is like the stem, just like the filament is the stem of the stamens. Ha! Can you remember all this? I can. I got it written down. It'll be on my website. And then the style is actually like a tube. And on top of the style is the stigma. And the stigma is sticky. It's a little sticky knob. And so you can imagine how it works, just like us humans. The sticky knob catches the pollen and sends it down the tube to the egg. Or at least that's how I think it works. But that's pretty cool. I think I learned a lot. So here's a little bit more about the crocus. Now under the ground is the corms. So folks mostly call them bulbs because in the fall we go to the store and we buy our spring bulbs that we plant in the fall. And it's not really a bulb, it's a corm. And I was like, what's a corm? So to be a true bulb, it must be a complete plant. So it must have both stem and leaves in the bulb. But corms, the part that's, underneath the ground here, corms only have a stem and food storage. They don't have any leaves, so they're not a complete package. Corms are sometimes called solid bulbs because they lack the layers, kind of like an onion has layers. They don't have layers. They're very solid, so that indicates that you can kind of tell it's a corm. But once grown and flowered, the corm does not grow again. So a bulb will go all back into the bulb. You know, after it blooms, you have to leave the leaves so it can all take the nutrients and everything back in and create and into the same bulb. Corms don't do that. Rather, a new corm grows at the base of the old one, and next year's flower is from the new cormlet. I love it. Corms make cormlets. The old corm shrivels up and the cormlet grows into a corm. I love it. This information is going to be on my website. So I did not know this, but this is why I'm studying, to learn, and I'm adding this stuff to my journal on my website pages now rather than a written journal. There's an autumn crocus. So these are spring crocus that bloom in the spring, and there's actually an autumn crocus, and I'm going to go find some and buy some. They are called the saffron crocus. And the reason they're the saffron crocus, that's their scientific name is Crocus sativus, something like that. And the reason that they're that species is because that is the word for saffron, and saffron's a spice. And so I saw this on YouTube. You can go watch other videos, but I'm going to try to buy my own and autumn ones. But we learned all about the parts, and the reason that the parts are important is because the stigmas are really large, apparently, in the autumn ones, and they take those off and dry them, and that's where they get the spice saffron from. But it takes like a zillion flowers. You know, not really a zillion, because that's not really a numerical value, but it takes a whole bunch of flowers to get enough saffron off those stigmas and to turn it into a spice, and that's why saffron's so expensive. So spring blooming crocus are planted in the fall. Most of us are familiar with that. Autumn blooming crocus are planted in late summer. Just in time for them to bloom in like November, I heard. I don't know. I got to research that some more.